Howdy folks, this is Swati, and today we're gonna take a look at the very first thing from 2.0 patch and from the devs. And well, a part of what we are gonna look at is, as you may have guessed, a PAC. PAC has received some significant changes, as you might know, and today we're gonna take a look at their effect in testing environment. Well, because testing in practice is for weaklings anyways. No, uh, the changes that happen to PAC will be on your screen about now, if I figure out how to add them. And if I don't, they will be down below in the description, so feel free to pause, read through them, so you can let it sink in. And now let's get right into it. So, what do we do here? What do we have here as a testing vehicle is a fairly simple double-ported PAC. All settings are stock or basic, and the only thing that changed is the charging time, which I've increased to 5 seconds. I might increase it to 10. I don't know. Hopefully, it will be able to do enough damage, albeit it is very small. Now, it has 2 times 28 ported particle tubes, and as everybody probably knows, before the patch, if I'll have any sort of a footage, I'll add it here. Before patch, PACs were basically just either EMP or PAN. Settings such as explosive shock or impact simply didn't have that damage to be justifiable. Now, we'll start by those two as they received the most important changes, namely explosive shock. I do believe that at this point it is already, yeah, there we go. The tooltips have been already updated, therefore at this moment it reads that the explosive shock PAC does 100% damage potential. It is applied as an explosive force with a radius of 5 meters. What does it mean? In practice it means that if we do a raw initial damage 14,000, we lose something to damage and to attenuation. That doesn't really matter at this point, since we are shooting at about 100 meters or so, rather 80ish, doesn't matter. The important part is that 100% of the damage that makes it all the way to the target is applied as explosive damage with a fixed radius of 5 meters, so it doesn't matter whether your PAC is made from a million tubes or just a single simple tube, it will always have a 5-meter radius. No, everyone knows, or rather everyone who ever tried anything with PAC, and by any chance or rather accident has clicked on that explosive settings and tried the damage output, knows it does an utter nothing, for lack of better words. So let's take a look at what it does now, because everyone knows that 14k damage out of PAC is not that much, to be honest. Now, our testing target is just a simple thing I've quickly put together. It goes as wood, stone, metal, light alloy, glass, heavy armor, and then where it is always just green is 1 layer, yellow are 2 layers, and red is 3 layers. Everywhere are used solid beams. It's for purposes of testing a damage stacking. Now, on the inside, every capsule has a couple of explosive barrels, just to see when the damage goes through in certain cases. Well, let's take a look. Hopefully I'll be able to hit something. Now let's disregard wood, because wood was and is trash. Not necessarily trash, but in comparison to damage from weapons such as PAC, it doesn't offer any sort of a protection. Now stone. as you may see, it just went straight through, popped those barrels. It was one layer of stone that never offered much of an armor anyways, so let's try three layers. And as you might have noticed, it still went through. It before the patch, this sort of a damage just wouldn't be real. We can try a 3 layers metal, albeit I'm a little bit skeptic there. Well, or I can miss. Oops, that happens. So let's fix the target, and let's go again. Again and better. There we go. Yeah. Well, I've hit the heavy armor in the middle, but we've shown what we wanted. It's basically that 3 layers of metal will probably stop it. Now there is a really important part. There we go. It went straight through. There is a really important part to a PAC. While frags simply operate with this sort of an equation, it'll be once again on your screen. While explosive PAC works with this equation. Unfortunately, I don't have them at the end now. So, basically what these equations tell us is that our friend explosive PAC works with a square root of armor class of what is hitting. In practice, this means that PAC will always do higher damage to a very heavily stacked armor. Therefore, for an ultimate can opener, explosive shock is now your goal. Now the really important thing is that there is that 5 meter fixed blast radius, which ultimately results in the fact that beyond a certain point there is just literally no reason to build a PAC. I haven't been testing enough to find out what that amount of piping is. But the second you get to a point where either 1 or 2 beams of your PAC, depending on how many cubes you're using, does enough damage to simply evaporate everything within its 5 meter blast radius, you're done. You don't need to build anything bigger because it will never get stronger than this. On the other hand, we have also other PACs here, so let's get right into them. Another change was for impact. This will be second on our list, and impact PAC basically got in sheer theory just above to its armor mitigation, or rather it ignores a portion of the armor it hits. In practice though, its behavior has been slightly changed, and to a far better results, because albeit it appears as very little to no damage, I know for a fact that impact PAC can do an obnoxious amount of damage within a layer it hits. So for a direct hit damage, an impact PAC for a lightly armored targets is absolutely horrendous and destructive. This was a heavy armor, it didn't do much there. This is a glass, I do presume that will probably just evaporate that, yep. So once again, impact PAC has became... Damn, it actually took out a heavy armor block. An impact PAC suddenly became viable thing, and albeit it appears as if it's doing less damage because it doesn't have a fixed radius of effect, it can do in theory more and far more damage than explosive PAC. And in practice, or rather in practical tests, it simply outperforms explosive PAC in the sheer amount of damage it's able to do to its targets. That damage dealt though is not overly consistent. If it hits some separated block or simply not a solid wall, the spalling effect will simply not expand too far, and thus will quite severely limit the effect of what it can do. On the other hand, though, if it can hit a wall straight on, just as we've seen here, you can see that it can do a fairly large amount of damage. Therefore, an impact pack is suddenly something viable. Next, we have an EMP. I don't have a very good testing environment for EMP, admittedly. So let's just do that a little bit differently. Let's get rid of the target. Let's make sure that we are on, and let's spawn in our good old friend. Where do I got you? There. The flying cancer named Squirrel. If it will shoot. For some reason, it's not shooting. Wait, what? It's holding fire due to failsafe. Why though? Okay, let's get rid of you. Doesn't matter. Attempt number 2. There we go. So, if it will bother to actually hit something, I might have a very badly set AI for this. There we go. So, yeah. Albeit EMP PAC has received 50% damage reduction, it is still a goddamn EMP PAC. It's still doing the same evil it did before, and if you are not using surge protectors, you are basically screwed if you get hit by that. On the other hand, though, it's not anymore a weapon where you would have a pack with, let's say, 30 tubes. If you felt like being fancy, ported in. And that was the ultimate EMP weapon, which simply took out whatever it hit. That's not the case anymore. If I call in, let's say, Bulwark. Where do we have Bulwark? There. You'll notice that it just, at best, if very lucky, it will take out a turret, and the EMP just simply no longer propagates itself across the entire ship, ignoring all possible and impossible defenses you might have had there. So surge protectors now are really effective at stopping that. I suspect he's got probably something like that here. So yeah, that's the EMP pack. See, will work out, just absolutely. Shrugs off, ignores hits by a weapon like that. Well, and then we have our old enemy, Piercing Pack. This freaking evil thing was a matter of nightmares for basically anyone ever who ever seen it, or rather has been on the wrong side of the trajectory of its projectiles. It got a slight nerf. The nerf is lying. Still goes through. Anything. Everywhere. Nah. Well, not really. It's... well, there I just proved myself wrong. It's actually stoppable now. It's not anymore some absolute monster that would just obliterate everything. Since it got a slight armor piercing reduction, as well as the overall AC of basically everything increased. Also, I'll be doing a little review on that later on. Now simply ships don't get completely obliterated by it. We can demonstrate that probably Bulwark would be too brutal for that. But let's try Capital. Doesn't matter. Come on. And as you might see, it's still going through fairly deeply, but see, it just stops. It's not anymore a ship pierced right through, albeit it has a slightly lower damage. Let's try raising the charging time to 10 seconds. Repairing this and that, and now I've partially repaired after the shot. Well, it's not that important. It demonstrated what we wanted. Piercing PAC is still very much viable. Next thing that changed about PAC is that with lower charging times, which I wanted to kind of demonstrate with those 5 seconds charging time there, is that the inaccuracy is not getting so horrendous, where it would basically move anything but 10 second reload time out of viable options. Now, I've tried even a couple of, I don't know, 3 seconds or 2 second setups, which were fairly viable and sustainable, and even were hitting the target where you want it most of the time. But as you can see, those 2 seconds are going back to that realm where it was before, but it still from time to time hits the target where it's aiming to actually, which is still a fairly decent improvement to what it was before. And thus PACs became a little bit greater again. Yay. And that basically sums it up. I think if I've missed something, feel free to let me know in the comments below. Otherwise than that, I suppose I'll see you next time.